Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yes, good. My name is Vickie O'Doherty. I'm the worship leader today. We're excited to have attendees both in person as well as virtually on Zoom. If you're a visitor online and would like to be added to our mailing list, you can put your name and email address in the chat box area on Zoom. If you're visiting in person this morning, you can stand and introduce yourself if you like. Any visitors, anybody wants to stand up and say how do? Over there. Okay, hi.
Barbara. We're coming from
New Paltz. Barbara and David from New Paltz. Thank you and welcome.
Welcome.
Anybody else? Oh, here we go. Yeah, you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mia. I'm from Saugerties.
Great, welcome.
I'm Sophia from Albany.
Hey, Sophia.
I'm Mia. I'm from Redbook.
Great, hi, Mia. Yay, welcome everyone. We got another, what? Somebody had their hand up? Yes.
I'm not new, but I haven't been here since June. My name is Mark Swanson.
Hey, Mark, welcome.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, that's right. And welcome to newcomers. You can visit our website, uucatskills.org, to find contact information, to be added to the mailing list, and to find the latest newsletter. You will also find newsworthy items on upcoming events in our UU community. A reminder to people of all ages, children, young and old, are welcome here at UU Catskills. There is a space across the hall, directly over there, for anyone who would like to hear the service while being able to freely move about. So if you have a coughing jag or something like that. After the service, please stay for an in-person or virtual coffee break. And please take a moment right now to turn off your electronic devices so you give yourself permission to be fully present here and now. We have one announcement. This Friday, November 15th, don't miss the chance to dance the night away. The last dance is a chance to bless the sanctuary and celebrate community. The suggested donation is $10. Kids are free. The last dance this Friday is 7 o'clock. Each Sunday, the Social Action Committee, I don't know if we have anybody here from Social Action. Yes, we do. We've got Paula. They share a notice of an event, opportunity, or idea that provides an easy way to support our justice work beyond our four walls and inspire questions and discussions to explore during our social hour and beyond. So we've got Paula. Come on up, Paula. She's going to give us a few minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. As you know, the holidays are fast approaching, and with that comes our annual drive to collect goodies for our friends at Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. They service over 500 people here in Ulster County, and this year UIDN has asked us to donate laundry detergent and toiletries, including feminine personal care items. So you can give me some money and I'll do the shopping, make it nice and easy for you. Or starting next week, there will be boxes in the sanctuary hallway and you can drop off things right there. So we hope to have a lot of participation and so we can help these people who are really in need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paula. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are guided by the values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, centered always in the power of love. We draw on many sources of wisdom and inspiration as we seek to understand the world, the universe, and the mystery beyond all human knowing. At UU Catskills, we seek to live our values in every part of our lives. We affirm that Black Lives Matter. We are a welcoming and affirming congregation for the LGBTQ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, and we are an active voice in the effort to address climate change. Our sanctuary is built on tribal land of the Lenape people, which is currently known as Kingston. Today, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. This is Professor Stephen DiLorenzo. Stephen DiLorenzo is an assistant professor of philosophy at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point and is a career intelligence officer in the U.S. Army. Stephen holds an MA and BA in philosophy and focuses his research efforts on the topics of the morality of war, self-defense, and moral injury. Stephen has been in the Army for 19 years, has deployed to Afghanistan, and holds a Bronze Star Medal, Combat Action Badge, and Army Aviator Badge. Besides his academic and professional interests, Stephen enjoys the adventures of family life with his legendary spouse, Michelle, and his wonderful progeny, June and Emmett. Stephen and his family returned to the Hudson Valley in 2023 and are members of the Universalist Unitarian congregation at Rock Tavern, which is down towards Newburgh. Prelude this morning is 6 variations on a Ukrainian folk song, which is played by our music director, Catherine Cattabiani. Catherine. So now the children are invited to come forward for the chalice lighting. Come on down. Hold on. Here we go. We got a little guy over here. Come on up. Okay, you just gotta watch as Jake lights that candle. Okay, passes it on. Yeah. He's a wonder.
And it's gonna go at the other end, so we can
Okay.
get the candles.
Back to Jake. Jake, hand it up and on.
Pass it on. Good idea, good job. Yeah, okay. You did it, good. You can blow that one out. You can blow that. Thank you all. Okay, hey, thanks, Ernie. So please join me in saying the chalice lighting words which may be found in your order of service. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community, even in the darkest of times. May its flame light paths to courage, justice, and hope. All right, he wants to be on stage. I see that. Keep running, guy. Keep running. Okay. And now our unison affirmation. May we be, Grandpa's chasing. Okay, Grandpa's chasing. Hold on. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected in wonder and joy to mystery and miracle in the universe, in this community, and in each other. Okay. Opening words are from Stephen.
Yeah, we're going to be in number 602. Please read the italics after I recite the other ones. And this is, if there is to be peace.
There must be peace in the nations.
Sorry, waiting for everybody.
Oh, okay.
602. Someone- All right. If there is to be peace in this world,
There must be peace in the nations.
if there is to be peace in the nations,
There must be peace in the cities.
if there is to be peace in the cities,
There must be peace between neighbors.
if there is to be peace between neighbors,
There must be peace in the home.
if there is to be peace in the home.
There must be peace in the heart.
Thank you.
Keep time. So please join me if you're able to stand, please stand and join in singing our opening hymn, number 155 in the gray hymnal. It's Circle Round for Freedom. Okay. So we have not for children only, which means everyone can observe our story today. The story is called, you know what, I didn't write it down. What's the name of the story, Stephen?
Story, oh, sorry.
Say it
Don't
on
tell it.
Doesn't say it
Tell
on it.
you.
Child's Garden.
Child's Garden, yeah.
That's what it is.
Child's Garden.
Okay, good. All right, enjoy, everybody.
To read a story about a little boy who lives in a very difficult place. The story's called A Child's Garden, A Story of Hope, and it's written by Michael Foreman, and Michael did the illustrations as well. You can see the little boy on top of a derelict house, and a plant growing with a beautiful bird. Let's have a look inside. This looks like barbed wire. A child's garden. A child's garden. A child might be here. The boy saw it after a night of rain, a speck of green in the rubble, peeping up towards the sunlight. There it is. He moved some broken bricks so that nothing would fall and crush the tiny plant. He didn't know what sort of plant it was, a flower or a weed. He just knew it would struggle to survive. The boy searched around and found an old can which held a little rainwater. He brought it to the plant. "Drink up," he whispered, "drink up." The sun was climbing in the sky, and the boy gave the plant shade with some old sacking and wire. The boy's world was a place of ruin and rubble, ringed by a fence of barbed wire. In the hot, dry summer, the air was thick with dust. Faraway hills shimmered in the haze. The boy knew that cool streams flowed in those hills. He used to go there with his father, but now the hills were the wrong side of the wire. Over the following weeks, he cared for his secret garden. Soon, the green tendrils reached to the high barbed wire fence. Now the boy could tell it was a vine, a grapevine. It spread along the fence and gave shade to its own tender roots, which in turn sent out more shoots. Birds and butterflies came bringing seeds and pollen on their wings. The garden grew. It was no longer a secret. Friends came to sit in its shade, and it became a playground for the children. Then, one day, soldiers came and destroyed everything. They threw the vine in a ditch on the other side of the wire. The boy thought his heart would break. Winter came. The boy and his family shivered in the cold and damp of their ruined home. Spring came late. After the first night of rain for weeks, the boy noticed green shoots all along the ditch. Some seeds from his vine must have survived the winter. He worried about the new shoots. He couldn't get close enough to water them. They were on the other side of the wire. There they are. Then, one evening, he saw a little girl playing by the ditch. She had a bucket and she was sprinkling water on the tiny plants. Each evening she returned. The boy hoped the soldiers wouldn't notice, but they didn't seem to mind plants growing on their side of the fence. Then, one day, the boy saw tiny specks of green peeping from the rubble where his garden had been. "Look," he yelled, "come and see, my vine has come back." He began collecting water and once more tended his garden. Soon it reached the wire, where it became entwined with the green tendrils from the little girl's side. The barbed wire disappeared under leafy shade, and the new garden became home once more to birds and butterflies. Let the soldiers return, thought the boy. Roots are deep and seeds spread. One day the fence will disappear forever, and we will be able to walk again into the hills. And that's the beautiful bird. And the barbed wire. There's the back of the book, and here's the back and front of the book. And there's the front cover. A Child's Garden, a story of hope. Well, that was a special story. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
I know that look.
Me too. Okay. All right, kids. We've got the Junior Climate Action Team is meeting today in the farmhouse. And so we're looking forward to that. So we can sing our Love give light to every face. May your kindness which you learn light your hearts till you return. Our meditation today is called We Hold Hope Close by Julian Jamaica Soto. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath the foundation of our values and ethics, of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star and to the truth that we are greater together than we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream, and by covenant and the movement forward of one right action and the next, we know that one day we will arrive at home. At home. And with the breathing of one breath, this sacred belonging, may we now enter into a time of silence together. It is now time for our offering. You can give in several ways. Drop something in the basket when it is passed. Use the QR code in your order of service, or give by going to uucatskills.org. We contribute to worthy organizations with our half-plate donation. This money is shared among 8 charitable groups. And this year we have 8 nonprofit groups that we share them with, and they are A.J. Williams African Root Center, A.J. Williams Myers African Root Center, Center for Creative Education, Harambe in Kingston, New York, and Hudson River Sloop Clearwater, Hudson Valley LGBTQ+ Center, Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative, Seed Song Farm, and the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. Please give generously. Our offertory song is Good-Natured Variations on a Ukrainian Folk Song, played by Cattabiani. Spirit of generosity, in the spirit of gratitude for the generosity that serves the world, thank you for these gifts. And now Professor Stephen DiLorenzo on morality and war.
Thank you, Vickie, and thank you all for letting me be here today. So let me first say, I have a disclaimer I have to say because I work for the government, that everything I say today is my own views and the views of other people. Nothing is attributed to the government, West Point, or in the department I work for. So I am a professor of philosophy. I'm not really comfortable with all these monikers that I offer myself, but I get to talk to students all the time about this topic. I get them for around 75 hours over the course of a semester to have a conversation with them about the morality of war. with lots of preparatory things, and I'm only going to get 20 minutes with you all to have some kind of conversation. Let me do a couple more preliminary things before I go to my topic. So tomorrow is Veterans Day, and the United States uniquely celebrates this holiday. It was previously Armistice Day at the end of World War I, and to celebrate, to memorialize, to remember, to venerate the cessation of violence. But the United States has changed that and to honor veterans, and so I find it fitting that I get to come talk to you today as a veteran, another moniker that I'm not super comfortable with. And so in the spirit of Armistice Day, one of my message here is about peace. We, in the children's book and in lots of things that we talked about earlier, we have to cultivate and sustain this hope for peace, and hopefully the words I offer will somewhat do that. I'm a philosopher. Philosophy is, don't be intimidated by this. This is just a person that gets to think about the world, and well, you all think about the world. I just get by happenstance, I get a little more time to think about it because it's because of some odd choices I made in my life. And so don't be intimidated by philosophy, but philosophy is about the search for truth, and that aligns with one of our values as you use the free and responsible search for truth. And please search for it in all the multitudinous ways that you can, and this thing that I will offer is just merely one way. So going into my topic, we have to set some things aside to have a meaningful conversation in 20 minutes. So things we're going to set aside. There's a position about the morality of war that says morality and war don't apply, or they don't commingle. They're separate. We have a moral sphere over here and a war sphere over here, and they're separate. And so there is no such thing as wrongness in war. Genocide, that's just what happens. It's not wrong, it's not bad. Deeply intuitive to me, but I won't be able to offer arguments against this. I think I have some really good ones, but I won't be able to engage with this. On the other side of the spectrum is pacifism. And so this is caricatured as the position that under all circumstances, war is impermissible. I think this is somewhat of a caricature, and I think there's better ways to formulate this, but again, I won't have time to formulate this. So in the middle is the thing we call the just warfare theory, a theory about how to permissibly engage in war. Another section that we're not going to talk about is the permissibility of starting wars. And so some philosophers think there are 7 conditions in which a country has to meet before they start a war. Some people think only one is important, just cause, and it's relevantly similar to the self-defense and our conceptions about how to engage in self-defense, or when it's permissible to engage in self-defense. Again, we're going to set this aside. We're going to focus on the specifics about what actions we should do in war. And so a war has already begun, and the question is, who can we kill in war? When can we kill them? What methods means can we use in war? And we probably have some intuitions here about that we shouldn't target civilians, we shouldn't kill civilians, and they're relevant discussions to have here. The one thing I want to focus on today is about the permissibility of soldiers killing in war. And so the dominant view, I think, is that it's permissible for all soldiers to engage other soldiers in war. This is called the moral equality of combatants, that soldiers on either side of a conflict permissibly fight and kill each other. By the way, we're going to be talking about killing today, if that's okay. So stepping out of the philosophy, let's just talk about what popular culture endorses. And I think popular culture endorses this view. I'm not a pop culturalist, but I am a person that lives in society, and so I think I'll name some artifacts that I think align with this view. And so, what are some things? So when I was growing up, we had the yellow ribbon campaigns for the global war on terrorism. And so the thought was that we should honor and respect the people that are fighting in this war, irrespective of whether whether the war is a good war or not. And so people had, wore yellow ribbons on their clothes and put it in their yards. There's the perpetual thank you for your service. Irrespective of what you did or what you fought or what you did in war, thank you for what you did. I get 10% discounts all over the place at home improvement stores. These are artifacts of the permissibility that we view in our culture. Some other artifacts. And so there's this poem, Charge of the Light Brigade. I forget the author right now, but it's super popular. They made a children's book out of it, and it's about a cavalry unit that charges guns in one of the British colonial wars. One of the lines from it is poignant. It says, "Theirs is not the reason why, theirs is but to do and die." And lots of them died. Another one from Horace, a Roman poet, that said something like, "It is right and fitting that soldiers die for their country." Okay, so I'm just naming some things that are in our popular culture that somewhat agrees with the permissibility of soldiers fighting in war. So let's come to philosophers. The philosopher that is the main proponent of this thought that soldiers fight permissibly in war, irrespective of what side they're on, is this author, Michael Walzer, who publishes this book in 1977 and reinvigorated, retransformed the engaging with the morality of war. I respect him a lot. I met him in person, but we'll see what we think of his views. So I gave an outline, and feel free to follow along. But we're right at number 2, Walzer's implausible arguments, his bad arguments for thinking that all soldiers fight equally in war. I met Kathy earlier, and Kathy, can I use your example for a demonstration? Okay. So one of thing that Walzer says, he looks at the post-World War II Nuremberg trials in which the German soldiers were not prosecuted. And he looks at this and says, hey, we got that right. The German soldiers didn't do anything wrong. Let's look at the form of this argument. Now, suppose Kathy did some heinous murder, and for some reason, we all didn't want to condemn Kathy. Maybe Kathy holds lots of political power. Maybe Kathy paid us all off, and we didn't prosecute Kathy for what she did. Walzer's view would be that, well, because we didn't prosecute her, it is therefore permissible for Kathy to do what she did. And I think this is deeply implausible. I can name some fallacies, but that probably wouldn't be helpful. It doesn't matter whether we condemn something for it to be impermissible. It can still be impermissible even if we don't prosecute her for some reason. A super popular one that you might identify with yourselves is that soldiers are subsumed in propaganda. And so soldiers don't have enough information to decide whether their war is just or not. They can't be held responsible for things they don't know. And so soldiers are ignorant is kind of the idea. Now to go back to Kathy. Can I use somebody else for a volunteer? Please. And what's your name, ma'am? Lynn. Lynn? Okay. Now, suppose I said to Kathy, Lynn is a terrible, horrible, no good person. She doesn't like fall. She prefers Chicago pizza. And all these things about Lynn are true. And you should go kill Lynn. Now, suppose Kathy kills Lynn. Does it therefore follow that what Kathy did was permissible? Now, Lynn didn't do anything wrong. Lynn likes New York pizza and fall. I offer that it's not permissible for Kathy to do this. Lynn didn't do anything wrong to deserve this punishment or to this action. Now, I lied to Kathy about how guilty and terrible, horrible, no good she was. And we might think Kathy is not blameworthy for this, which might be true. Maybe Kathy should be a little more skeptical, but that's setting that aside. We can make determinations about Kathy's blameworthiness and set that aside from whether it was permissible that she kill Lynn. This is in what I call the act-agent distinction. We can separate determinations about the action from the blameworthiness of the agent. And so in this case, we might say Kathy was blameless for this, but it was still impermissible because Lynn didn't do anything wrong. And this is what we can say about soldiers. So even though they don't know what they're doing was wrong, they're subsumed in propaganda. Walzer has these disparaging things where he talks about their ignorance. He says he has this classist bias against soldiers, which I take objection to, but that's fine. That they're too dumb to know. That they don't know better. They're subsumed in propaganda. They're going to fight. But again, this doesn't make it permissible that they do what they do. Now let's come to an argument that I think is a little bit more plausible. It's called the argument based on harm, and that's what I've outlined here. It says, premise 1, permissible attacks target things that harm. Premise 2, soldiers are things that harm. Conclusion is that soldiers may be permissibly attacked. We talked about validity. This is a valid argument. There are issues with premise 2, whether soldiers are in fact things that harming and whether he's broadly categorizing things falsely, but let's set that aside. Premise 1 is the challenging one. And it seems intuitive that if somebody is about to harm me, that I can harm them back to prevent my death. And when soldiers are in a war, that seems to be a case in which they can do this. That they can permissibly defend themselves from some attack. And well, the soldier on the other side can permissibly defend themselves from some attack. But we should be skeptical here. So let's go back to Kathy and Lynn. Kathy is a bank robber. And Kathy has a gun. Can you hold up your gun, Kathy? Okay. And Lynn is the security guard at the bank. And Kathy is robbing the bank and says, hey, give me all your money, I'm gonna start shooting people. And Lynn says, oh, no, I should prevent this. It's my responsibility, it's my job. Well, even more that it's my job, that this person is unjustly attacking all these people. I can defend them, I can defend myself. And then she pulls her gun. Lynn, can you pull your gun? Okay. Lynn's got her gun out. And then Kathy says, oh, Lynn's got a gun. Premise 1, permissible attacks target things that harm. Lynn is a thing that harms. Therefore, it's permissible for me to kill Lynn in this action. That should seem ridiculous to you. I think it's ridiculous. It's not permissible for bank robbers to kill security guards. One of the people that responds to this, Jeff McMahon, responds that says, it's not true that permissible attacks target things that harm. Permissible attacks target things that unjustly harm. And so when we look at this situation, we say, who is more culpable, at fault, or responsible for this forced choice among lives? Somebody is going to die here. And we would say, well, it's the bank robber that's more responsible for this forced choice among lives. And permissible attacks don't just target anything that harms. Permissible attacks target things that unjustly harm. And this key difference changes everything. So, when I was growing up, my students, they think this, that everything they do for their country is inherently good. Because they don't have to, it doesn't matter what the reasons for engaging in war. It's permissible that they fight in war, irrespective of anything. And then when we add this unjust harm here, this changes everything. This says that soldiers are only liable to be killed if they're unjustly harming. And the soldiers that are justly harming are not liable to be killed. So think about World War II, a case where, we like to use World War II because it's seemingly a case in which it's clear who's on the just side and who's on the unjust side. And so when the Nazis and Germans were invading Poland, the traditional view would say the Polish soldier and the Nazi soldier permissibly kill each other. But this revised view, it's called the revisionist position, says that no, only the Polish soldier permissibly kills in this war. The German soldier does not permissibly kill in this war. And so, I think again, this changes everything. Like if I fought in an unjust war, we can set aside whether I did or not, but if I did fight in an unjust war, I acted impermissibly. Everybody that fought in an impermissible war for the unjust cause acted impermissibly. And again, this is just different than the way we view things. It might be true that I'm not blameworthy, that I'm too dumb to know, or I was subsumed in propaganda, plausible. But it's still true that I acted impermissibly, if it is true that I fought in an unjust war. So, coming out of this argument, what does this mean? Well, I keep saying it changes everything. It changes a lot of our views. I say our, or maybe just mine. A lot of our views about how we treat soldiers, how we treat war. So, McMahon thinks that maybe this doesn't change a lot. Maybe soldiers are still going to fight in wars, irrespective of this argument, because maybe they won't care about this argument, but maybe they will care. And this is what I try to offer my students, is that if you care about morality, you should care about whether you're fighting permissibly in war or not. And we always say that we like to care about morality, and you should care about this. And so, us as citizens, how we react to people fighting in war, us as future veterans, if there's anybody that this might be, or you interact with future veterans, this changes our view about how they act in war. And I mean this to be a message of hope. And so I offer this to be a way that we can better conceptualize about how we interact with people who may be involved in fighting. This may change our proclivities to fighting. We should be deeply skeptical. McMahon says that at best, half of the people that fight in a given war, whether they're on the just side or unjust side, well, half of them are on the unjust side. And so that we should be deeply skeptical about whether we're engaging in permissible actions when we fight in war. So I offer this as something in our search for truth about how we can engage in this world, and to hopefully change some views about how we view war, and how we can make us make it less likely to be the case that we will fight in wars. Do y'all take questions here, or is that not a thing for y'all?
No, but we have coffee hour
Yeah,
afterwards,
cool.
and I want you to stay for that.
Yeah, please. I look forward to engaging with y'all in coffee hour. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for letting me talk here today. I don't normally say all the things I say. Sometimes I am a little less candid with my students. I am always less candid with my students. Thank y'all.
Yeah, we have coffee time after the service, and Stephen will be there, and you can have deep discussions with him afterwards. Somebody's phone's going. Okay. Now, please rise and body your spirit to join in singing our closing hymn, number 1017, and that's in the teal hymnal that you have. 1017, Building a New Way, 1017. Closing words today are from Project Plowshares. It's getting there, I'm moving on. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Go in peace and enjoy coffee hour over here.